The Golden Teachings of the Buddha. Passing through a life of suffering. Awakening the heart of the path. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Dear beloved listeners, if this is your first time hearing the teachings of the Buddha from this channel, I warmly welcome you. Please, take a moment to pause, to inhale deeply, and to gently release any tension you may be carrying. In this precious space of quietude, you are invited to open your heart. If these words resonate with you, even in the smallest way, consider subscribing to this channel, not for the sake of numbers, but as a conscious step toward a more mindful, awakened life. Your presence, your breath, your listening heart, it matters deeply. In this human journey, each of us walks through valleys of shadow and climbs mountains of challenge. Some paths are steep and unforgiving, others, winding and uncertain, but regardless of the form suffering takes, there is always a way through. The Buddha's teachings are not abstract theories, they are lamps lit by wisdom, placed at our feet so that we may walk with clarity and courage. Let us begin. Part 1. The Veil of Suffering. There are moments when life feels unbearably heavy. We wake up without direction. We move through the hours like ghosts, burdened by invisible weights. Work loses meaning, relationships fray, loneliness creeps in, even when surrounded by others. In such times, it may feel as though we are walking through a fog that never lifts. But the Buddha teaches us that suffering is not an error. It is not a punishment. It is a teacher. It is the beginning of the path. I once met an elderly woman named Lan. She had lost 2 children and lived alone in a tiny apartment near the railway tracks. Her life, from the outside, looked like a tale of misfortune. But when I spoke with her, she radiated an inexplicable peace. She said, "Pain taught me how to love deeply. Loss showed me how to appreciate what remains. Now, even a cup of hot tea in the morning makes me cry in gratitude." Her story reminds us that suffering, if held with tenderness and insight, can transform into wisdom. Part 2. Cause and Effect. The Law of Karma. Why do good people suffer? Why do those who cause harm seem to prosper? These are timeless questions, and the Buddha addressed them with compassion and clarity. Every action, every thought, every intention is a seed. Some seeds grow quickly, others rest in the soil for years, waiting for the right conditions. Karma is not about reward or punishment. It is the natural unfolding of causes and conditions. When we understand this, we stop seeing life as unfair, and begin to take responsibility for the garden we are cultivating. I remember a man named Thien, once a wealthy businessman, who lost everything in a scandal not entirely his fault. He could have fallen into bitterness. Instead, he came to a temple and offered to sweep the courtyard each morning. Over time, he found joy in simplicity. He told me, "I used to chase success. Now I chase nothing, I just sweep, and in each sweep, I feel lighter." Such is the power of karma understood, not feared. It guides us toward conscious living. Part 3. The Humble Lights of the World. Not all spiritual teachers wear robes or sit on high seats. Sometimes, they are the tea seller who greets everyone with a bow, the janitor who whistles while working, the grandmother who prays quietly by her window each dawn. These humble beings, without fame or following, live the Dharma. Their kindness, their patience, their silent sacrifices, they are the living scriptures. One afternoon, I watched a boy share his only piece of bread with a stray dog. No one asked him to. No one praised him. He simply saw a need and responded. In that moment, I felt I was witnessing enlightenment in action. Let us never overlook the power of ordinary goodness. It is often the most profound. Part 4. The Journey of Letting Go and Awakening Through Suffering. Continuing from the stories of humble souls who radiate spiritual clarity, we now step into a deeper territory, the quiet, courageous path of letting go. For if there is one thing that prolongs human suffering, it is attachment, and if there is one thing that dissolves suffering at its very root, it is surrender. Without release, we cannot move forward. But letting go is not despair. It is not giving up in resignation. Letting go is an act of deep awareness. It is when we realize that we've held something for too long, something that no longer serves the soul's journey. I once had a heartfelt conversation with a woman named DM, who had been through a painful divorce after 10 years of marriage. For years after, even though her former partner had moved on and started a new family, she could not release the emotional threads binding her to him. Every time his name was mentioned, it felt like a blade cut through her heart. That continued until one day, during a Dharma talk at a temple, she heard the monk gently say, "No one can make you suffer endlessly unless you allow that pain to stay. And if you don't let go of the past, your future will be too afraid to come close." Those words were like a fresh breeze that swept through the fog within her. From that day forward, she began to let go. Each morning, she chanted a short sutra. Each night, she silently sent a blessing to her former partner. At first, it was difficult and unnatural, but over time, it became genuine. A year later, she told me, "You know, I no longer hate him. I no longer love him either. I just feel light, and because of that, I've come to love myself more." Another story came from a man named Kwang. He lost his son in a tragic traffic accident just as the boy turned 12. That grief shattered him. He drank heavily for months and lost all desire to live. But one evening, sitting before his son's altar, he happened to open the Lotus Sutra and came across this line: "Life does not end, it only transforms." In that moment, he no longer saw death as an ending but as a continuation in another realm. He began to practice the Dharma. Every day he recited the name of Amitabha Buddha, dedicating the merit to his child. The sorrow remained, but it softened. He told me, "I no longer live to forget my son. I live to be worthy of the precious moments we shared." These are not people who studied Buddhism to become scholars. They studied life to survive. And in the sacred act of learning to let go, they discovered something far greater: inner freedom. Letting go is not loss. Letting go is making room for what truly belongs. It is like opening the hand to receive a new gift. As long as we clench our fists around the past, we can never grasp the peace of the present. The Buddha taught, the tighter you hold, the deeper the pain, the sooner you release, the freer your heart becomes. This is not just a quote to admire. It is a truth proven by millions of lives throughout history. My dear friend, if today you find yourself still holding onto an old wound, a grievance that hasn't healed, or a sorrow that lingers, please sit down for a moment. Take a deep breath, and whisper to yourself, "I am ready to gently release." And if that journey begins with a single chant, a single breath, or a modest Dharma talk such as this, then I invite you to leave a mark of commitment by subscribing to this channel. For we are not merely watching a video, we are walking a sacred path together. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha, to be continued.